Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, both and neither, to another installment in our ongoing Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Sydney by Night. This episode, entitled The Aftermath. I'm Mario, and I'll be your humble storyteller for this evening. If for whatever reason you didn't catch us live at PAX Australia in October, the panel will be uploaded to YouTube in the coming days. It was a great deal of fun, and we hope to be able to put on another show next year. Regardless, tonight, we will pick up the story where the panel left off. So to that end, the following is a brief synopsis of what went down. With the Camarilla mostly vanquished in Sydney, at least for the time being, our coterie decided to split up to cover more ground and root out the extended arms in the various Australian courts. Our coterie discovered a lead, thanks to a vision from Lyra of Mars's future plans, which were cut short once the coterie company put a swift end to such plans in the domain of Sydney. Following that lead, uncovered the next target for the Camarilla's uprising, and it was the city of Melbourne, down south. Without delay or hesitation, Victoria, Nix, Valeria, and Espria headed down there to investigate. They then unexpectedly ran into someone from Victoria's past, a kata known as Vampire of the Western Australian contingent of the Free Anarch movement. He was also looking for answers and had knowledge of a rogue coterie of the Camarilla Faithful, hiding in an abandoned construction site near the Queen Victoria Market. Our coterie decided it would be of benefit to team up in this investigation. The furthering of the investigation led to the coterie running into Kindred, who they didn't initially or thought they knew. As it turns out, it was the fate aligning and reunion of sire and child for two of our coterie members, under the guise and assumption that they were all Camarilla faithful, looking for the new Elysium to take residence. Our coterie and company made it covertly all the way into the newly formed Elysium, and this is when they all realized this was precisely the right moment to strike. With Carver and Traidora completely caught off guard, things ended abruptly and violently as Victoria sought revenge for the years of emotional mutilation that Carver put her through when she and him were under the same court within the Camarilla ranks. It was a quick descent into torpor, and then with some assistance from Belfaris, a sudden final death, and then to ashes, as Carver felt the sweet and bitter end in the touch of oblivion. Following this, other kindred swiftly fled this now broken Elysium, including Traidora, who is lurking outside under unseen passage. Now we continue, and so without further ado, let's tell a vampire story. Starting in the present scene in St Kilda, Melbourne suburbia, in an old club known as the Crystal Ballroom. Victoria stands up slowly to realize what she has just done. She stops for a moment and pauses to take it all in. And then she throws her fist into the air and says, "I finally got you! Yes!" The others in the room.
Well done.
Thank you.
I can't say that I'm sad to see him go either, even if I just met him.
Well, technically you didn't just met him, but that's semantics.
Yeah.
So, if you want a little bit of context, he and I were in the same court, and he was higher up and did nothing but torture me emotionally. So I want revenge, and I got it. So I'm happy. Yes.
That's fair.
She surveys the room and realizes that Belfaris has left. We can only assume he's gone back to the other side of the country to report his findings. He will return.
Okay.
Surveying the room. Valeria is just kind of having a lot of joy and just generally partying, but being her very Malkavian self. Skipping around the room, just being very animated. She then gets a premonition all of a sudden. She sees her sire in his old car, arriving somewhere close by. Valeria knows this location. As the vision ends, she trots out of the club very leisurely, still very animated. And Valeria will return at a grammatically appropriate moment in a later session. All who remains in the club now are Victoria, Nyx, and Espria. Treador has also left. Unbeknownst to the coterie, she is hiding, lurking outside in an unseen passage. She is observing Belfaris leave the club. Shortly after that, Valeria leave the club. She's taking stock on who is exiting. She needs this information. We don't know why, but that's what she needs it for. Victoria turns to the others and she says, Where did Treador go? Did anyone see her leave?
No, I was too focused on what was going on in front of us.
That's fair. And I was on the ground holding him to the floor until he died. So I also didn't pay attention to Treador leaving. So, in that case, do we need to go find her and deal with her?
Would much prefer that.
Does
Oh, I
Carter
see.
have anything of interest on him?
You can give me a wits and awareness to find out.
Okay. Wits. Awareness. Okay, nothing. No successes.
No successes at all? Okay.
Well,
No,
One, and then 3 blanks. Yeah,
Okay, so you got a single success. Okay.
single success. Yeah.
In his body, you see nothing of note. He didn't carry anything of any particular note. He was a lightweight in terms of the luggage compartment. All you can see really is his clothes and a pile of ashes on the floor. It's possible that Belfaris may have destroyed some sort of kindred artifact with the touch of oblivion. But we don't know for sure.
There was a strange door in the area we were in from memory.
Yep.
Was that right?
Yes.
Should we investigate that further?
Well, we could, but I'm reasonably certain this place is deserted.
Okay. Well,
Victoria will
I guess-
activate. You know, I keep forgetting she doesn't have heightened senses. If you want to look for presence of kindred in the immediate vicinity, you can activate heightened senses to see if you can detect anything.
Could I possibly use sense the unseen?
You can. Yep. Go right ahead. So for heightened senses, Hannah, that's a wits and resolve.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sense the unseen. I'm pretty sure it's the same, right?
Since the
2
unseen is wits, resolve, and auspex.
Wits, resolve. Okay. So, and auspex. So that's 6 plus 2.
So, Nix, you were using which sense to be heightened?
Hearing.
Hearing? Okay.
Mhm.
You can't hear anything in the immediate vicinity. It's dead silent. You're pretty sure there's no one in the area at all anymore.
Okay. Great.
Not even upstairs in the club, which is currently closed.
Okay.
How many successes did you get, Espria?
I got 2 normal unks and 2 unks with the stars.
So that's that's six successes. Which sense are you heightening?
I'm doing sense the unseen.
Oh, sorry, sense the unseen. Yeah, correct.
Yes.
You cannot detect any kindred in the area apart from Espria lurking in unseen passage outside.
Okay.
Sorry, not Espria. That's you.
Yeah.
Trayadora lurking in unseen passage, not far from the entrance.
I am pretty much going to just head outside immediately. Without warning, I'm just going to pretty much head towards Tradora.
Okay, so Victoria will follow shortly after, and I would assume Nix would also see this and follow after out the club. The three of you exit the club, and Espria can see unseen presence, Tradora, observing intently from across the road. Once she sees all you exit the club, she starts to leisurely walk away.
I'm pretty much going to beeline straight for them. I would like to activate Soaring Leap to try and close the distance faster.
Okay. Would you also like to activate Unseen Passage to approach her without being seen? Or do you just want to make it very obvious that you're going to tackle her?
I'm just going straight for her.
All right. You leap directly towards her and onto her body. You pin her against the ground, and Nix and Victoria just observe what is going on.
Spear is pretty much going to pull. Yeah, I think I'm going to pull out my blade little dagger I have, and I'm pretty much going to just start stabbing.
Okay. As you start stabbing, the others, so Nixon and Victoria, if you want to observe more closely, let me just see what the roll would be. If you want to observe more closely, Traydora, give me an intelligence and insight. Espria cannot roll for this because you're otherwise engaged, but Victoria and Nix could roll for this. I'm going to... Victoria is going to do intelligence and...
I'm rolling badly.
Give me a moment. So intelligence and insight, it's going to be 3. Alright, so Victoria got 2 successes. How many successes did?
Just one.
Just the one. You don't
Just
notice
the one,
anything.
yeah.
You don't notice anything in particular about Traydora. She's just there holding the finger to you. However, Victoria sees the mark of the Sabbat on Traydora's right hand. She quickly exclaims, "Stop, stop, 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 stop." Do you stop, Espria?
I will halt for the time being, yes.
That mark on her hand. That is the mark of the Black Hand. That is the mark of the Sabbat. I think our best interest is getting information out of her before you do whatever you're going to do. Victoria just simply awaits for Esprea's next reaction.
As much as I want to kill them here and now for what they did to me, for what they took from me, all this time looking for vengeance, for payback. I guess it won't fix what has already been done, what I've become. If I kill them now, would that solve my issue? If I kill them now, what would that accomplish? Information? Yes, I could get information. As Espria just stares, I guess, into... just stares, I guess, fiercely at Traydora as she says, I could get information. Can I potentially get Traydora into torpor?
You can. She's
need to roll for
helpless
that?
on the ground. However, Victoria is going to insist. She's just going to ask Traydora. She's going to say, "Are you really Camarilla faithful? Are you actually Sabbat? Are you with the Black Hand?" I don't see you have a lot of time to answer. But I don't even know if you will tell the truth, so please give me an answer. And then Espria can do whatever the hell she likes, as far as I'm concerned. Traydora tries to get Espria's grasp a little bit loosened, she just says, "Yes. And the Sabbat will rise again. I wasn't actually trying to get into the camarilla. I was trying to be a mole to report back to the Black Hand." She's then going to just let you have a tighter grip. And Victoria is going to assume she's telling the truth. Do whatever you like, Espria.
With that, I want to pretty much knock Trador out or put her in torpor if that makes it easier.
Okay. She will, if you continue stabbing and hacking at her, after a little while, yeah, she'll enter torpor. You must after you stop attacking her when she's entered torpor.
Yes.
All
I
right.
want to make sure she's alive.
So she is knocked out. You can either use heightened senses. Yeah, pretty much heightened senses is anything you really have to determine if she's still alive and in torpor. She looks very beaten up.
Alright, so that is Wits and Resolve for heightened senses?
Correct, and I would say you could use vision, or you could use hearing, or just sort of anything to gauge if she is still alive.
Okay, let's see. 3 hunger, so Wits Resolve, 6. Yep. Ooh. I would say, hearing. I would hear if they're breathing, but
Kindred don't breathe. You could,
so,
you
I
would,
guess
you would.
sight.
Yep, yeah, that's probably the most logical one. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 successes.
She's in a deep torpor. You can see into a kindred form. And yes, she looks pretty battered up. But there's no real signs of bruising. Kindred don't really bruise either. They're not human. But yes, she's in a reasonably deep slumber. She will remain in torpor until she is either the torpor ends in around 2 weeks, or she is awakened prematurely by another kindred's vitae. What do you want to do now?
Going to pretty much whisper under her breath, and say, "I have plans for you." And then she's going to get up, look over to Victoria and Nyx, and pretty much turn and say, "I've got some errands. Guess I'll meet you in Sydney." That's everything
Okay.
we have here.
Are you gonna make it back on yourself? You gonna be alright?
I should be fine.
Alright.
Esperis is then gonna turn around, grab Trador, and head off.
It's very late at night at this point, so you wouldn't really need any obscuration to not be seen. However, it's probably advisable to find something to put Trador's seemingly lifeless body in, so it's not to arouse suspicion.
Yeah.
So you could really do anything. You could scavenge around the area, find material, or you could just find a garbage bag or something, anything to obscure the body.
I'll probably find like a big suitcase. I think that could be pretty good.
All right. So we say that you find a suitcase to stuff Traedora's body into very unceremoniously and very undignifiedly. You're basically you're not showing your sire any respect.
No.
Okay. So Nix and Victoria, the final two left. They head down to Southern Cross Station to catch the train back to Sydney. They would assume that Espria probably took the earlier train. And once boarded, Victoria sends some texts to Kira. They go into great detail about what went down in Melbourne. And that Nix is with her. We don't know where Valoria went, you know. You can never keep track of Malkavians, but yeah. We assume that she'll eventually return to Sydney as well. But I'm sure she'll be fine. Kira is reassured by Victoria that that'll be the case. And then she also details the exchange between Espria and Traedora. What's going on there. We jump back to Sydney, where Lyra, Victor, Kira and Nicholas are just sort of being present in Victor's haven. Kira takes a look at her phone, and then she would probably communicate to the others what's gone down, I would imagine.
I would indeed, and I would, as I'm relaying that information, I basically make it clear to Lyra, to the Baron, to Nicholas that, well, there's been a lot of things that have been happening, and I think we need to discuss these things and prepare for their arrival as they return. But a lot of things have happened in Melbourne. Another Camarilla threat has presented itself, but it sounds like it's all been handled. I'm glad that business is all in working order, but I get the feeling that this might be a lot bigger than we think, because if there was an issue in Sydney that we've pretty much resolved and Melbourne had its own issues, there might be something elsewhere. So we should be on guard. We should be ready for the next step, because I get the feeling there's a lot more.
I think you might be muted, Chag.
Thank you.
Okay.
I still don't like this, Kira. This isn't how they used to operate.
It's quite different, actually, from my experiences with the Camarilla as well. Usually far more organized, usually far more rules prudent, and very calculated, but this has been a mess. This has been chaotic. This has been... I don't like this at all, but we stand united. We know what's been going on here within Sydney, within the mountains, within Melbourne. So long as we remain a united front and continue with business as planned, as well as making new allies, we can ensure that not only is the future goal of building something greater, but also making sure that we all stay safe.
The next move
Which reminds
back to Sydney.
I am so sorry, I missed that.
Yep.
Is the next move to go back to Sydney.
I think it would be wise. They did mention that they were going to start making their way back. But Baron, if I may borrow you for a moment of your time, there are still plans to clean up the mountains, and I would definitely like to assist you in that. But I think we need to prep for the next step, heading back to Sydney.
Notably,
Okay.
go ahead.
This is understandable. Your help has been appreciated, but I do not expect you to put any of your plans on hold.
Notably, in Victoria's extensive texts, she mentions Traydor was Sabat-aligned, or is probably still Sabat-aligned, even though she's now in torpor and in the custody
I'm actually
of
going
Spria.
to cause attention to that. That's a good point. Thank you,
So,
storyteller.
As a venturer, not being from Australia, you wouldn't have very much familiarity with how the Sabat work and what they're about, but you would mention this to the rest of the group back here because it's very important. Because that is Victoria details heavily that it's a very important thing to mention.
And Miss Hemlock, Baron, Nicholas, we've also got another problem that is so much more greater at stake. It's so much worse than the Camarilla, and I need to call attention to this. And this cannot leave this room. This cannot leave anywhere else outside of our party. But there was a shadow operative in Melbourne for the Sabat. The Sabat is returned, and they are fighting to become stronger. And they were infiltrating the Camarilla to bring information back.
I wonder if this is the reason why the Carrier are being a bit more reckless than usual with the rules and everything else that's been going on.
To agree that what we've seen and what we're hearing is too unlike what I'm used to with the Camis, so if these people that we're dealing with are more deep cover agents from the Sabat, that'd match up a little bit better. Lyra, sorry. I want to make sure, we've just sort of met in the midst of all this turmoil for you. Are you comfortable to move with us to Sydney, if that's where we're taken?
I'm comfortable to move wherever I'm needed.
And on that note, I actually will address Lyra and continue off of that. As a matter of fact, I do have accommodations planned. You have free reign of my club. I will make sure that one of our private rooms, our private suites, will be yours with no disturbances. I will make sure our staff are aware of that. Nicholas, I'm sure you can attend to that as well to make sure that everybody is up to code and up to speed. But additionally, I have fully fleshed out plans to get you a new property, so that way you may continue your business as you please, and to consider it a home as well. It's going to be in the works. It's going to take some time, but I will be happy to offer that to you in exchange for your assistance.
That would be much appreciated. I will be looking for a property soon. I have quite particular tastes on where I rest.
Very
as a former
very
Cami.
respectful.
Oh, sorry.
I'm so sorry. I was just gonna say, whenever you do find your property, just let me know. I've got it taken care of.
Much appreciated, thank you.
As a former Cami, I know how important, how well treated the Tremere were among them. So I'm going to make security in these more uncertain times for you, Ms. Hemlock, a priority until we better understand the situation.
That would put me at ease quite a bit more with the moving about and trying to find somewhere new. So thank you.
Victor, you would have pretty extensive knowledge on both career activities and Sabbat activities. Being a Bruja, Bruja definitely get their hands dirty.
I actually would like to lead into that, storyteller, if I may. I want to definitely talk about that with Victor specifically.
Let me just finish that point. So, yes, if you would impart any wisdom, you can do so. But you also know that the closest clans to the Sabbat are the Carta and La Sombra. So, if anyone has the most information about how they operate and how they work, it would be Victoria. But Victor would still be very close to that. So if you wanted to impart any wisdom on that end.
Well, I cannot be sure what these new movements are doing, but to the best of my knowledge, these have both been rather firmly crushed. At least in my domain. I don't know of others. Where was this Sabbat member you found?
The Sabbat was located in Melbourne, Australia, and it was during an encounter from members of our coterie.
Specifically, Victoria mentioned that the Sabbat aligned kindred in question is Treadora Esprit's sire. They had a Sabbat mark on their right hand, and it is very hard to mark a kindred's skin. So it is the work of the Black Hand, the Sabbat. It's not something that comes across. Yeah, it's not something that comes across as lightly. It is something that is very hard to actually make in kindred skin. So definitely very powerful.
You know, I'm actually going to pose a question to Lyra on that point.
Yeah.
Miss Hemlock, it was discovered that Espria's sire was that shadow operative within the Sabbat, and it said that it was revealed that they have a mark upon their skin, and we don't usually have marks that last on our skin. Would you know anything about magic, or would you know anything about not only how that could be done, but the significance of the Sabbat doing that? Anything at all?
That is quite interesting. There are definitely ways to make markings stick on a body and stay. As you can probably tell from the markings on my body. But for me to kind of to figure out how they have done it themselves, I would need to examine the mark myself to then research and find what technique they're using for this.
Yep. So, as the conversation continues, we move forward to we'll take a quick 5-minute intermission after that conversation ends, and we will be right back. Hello everyone. We now return to the scene in the office, in Kira's office in Sydney Secluded, where Nyx, Kira, Victoria, Nicholas, Victor, and Lyra all gather to discuss this new and impending threat. As everyone sits down, Espria slowly enters through the main door to the office, reasonably covertly. No one seems to notice her presence until Victoria, seated opposite the door, says, "Oh, so where is Treadora's body, Espria? Is it safe?"
She's somewhere safe. I don't think anyone will be finding her anytime soon.
Okay, I trust you. She turns to the rest of the table and very abruptly says, the first community, the first faction, the first sect, whatever you want to call it, that was a part of, was the Sabbat. They are ruthless. They don't care about maintaining the masquerade. They would in fact rather see it burn. And when I noticed that Treadora bears the mark of the Black Hand, the mark of the Sabbat, the symbol of the hard-closed eye, admittedly, I became far more worried than I ever have been with the new Camarilla uprising. Which, by the way, TLDR, that's kind of not happening anytime soon. So that's at least one issue solved. But friends, does anyone have any ideas about tracking down and locating the Sabbat in Sydney, which is not a question of are they here? It's a question of where are they hiding? She turns to Victor and she says, Bruja are reasonably knowledgeable of the goings-on of the Sabbat. Have you encountered them before in the mountains? And how did you deal with them?
Violently. Delightfully so.
Yes, well, the other thing about the Sabbat, the modern Sabbat anyway, they kind of don't believe in using kindred powers. They're brute force strength. They don't use any bonuses. They've kind of also abandoned, or recently abandoned, the idea of clans altogether.
Indeed,
And
it makes it easy once you find them.
yeah, it's a bit silly if you ask me, but you know, their strength is in their numbers. And challenged with a Sabbat clergy of more than 100 kindred that want nothing more than to just completely and utterly obliterate the masquerade and have kindred be exposed to mortals without any care or any kind of remorse to do so. That is a very not particularly nice concept, as I'm sure most of you agree. She turns to Kira and she states, what resources do we have in terms of fighting potentially hundreds of Sabbat and their minions?
What resources
there-
we have? Well, we have an endless.
Go ahead.
What we have is an endless coin purse. Me devoted to making sure we have everything we need to eradicate this threat. Should they be so bold as to impress upon our land, and if they wish to get violent, we're going to make sure they regret it. And they're not going to come near this club. They're not going to invade Sydney. We're not going to allow them to just freely roam back into Melbourne to do whatever they must have planned over there. So, if you're asking me specifically how far I'm willing to go with this, I take this matter very urgently and very seriously. So, if we need to get in contact with someone to create certain weapons, that's how far I'm willing to go.
So, the reason why the Sabbat numbers are generally reasonably populous is because they perform tainted Tremere blunt magic to raise the dead in mass numbers.
Zombies?
They are referred to by the Sabbat as the unbirthed. They are incredibly fast, incredibly swift, incredibly lethal, and can easily overwhelm not just a mortal, but kindred alike. They perform these rituals at mass graves, known mass graves of various human atrocities. And so these rituals allow them to have a very high amount of numbers and raw power. To stop them, we need to prevent as much of these rituals as possible. She turns to Nicholas and she says, "Do you have any Gango friends that are able to become quite agile and speedy, taking various shapes and forms that could maybe deal with these unbirthed?"
In the States, I did, not here.
Hmm.
I haven't made those connections yet.
Makes sense.
I'm working on developing the ability myself. But I'm not there.
Actually,
Go ahead, Ashley.
I was actually going to raise a concern. Something actually bothers me. Something I've been thinking about since this whole situation happened, because we've been wondering how it ties in together. But you all remember the issue we had with the wolves, the werewolves that were in the hospital and suddenly exited in a very dramatic situation, and how
Yeah.
absolutely horrific everything was? I
Yeah.
can't
Yes.
profess, I can't profess, because this is going to sound ridiculous. Werewolves would not help vampires. Werewolves would not side with vampires. With kindred. But I can't help but wonder, what if the werewolves are working with a Sabbat?
Oh.
I mean,
Victoria
they both
has
do
a...
want-
Go ahead, Esprio.
They both do seem to want to break the masquerade, or at least from what I've seen.
Exactly.
Werewolves, they don't give a shit about hiding.
So
leaving us to clean up the mess.
And they definitely don't care about us. The wolves could give no amount of anything to us. They don't care about our well-being, our survival. If anything, they want to be left in peace, from what I understand. And I know very, very little. The wolves want to be left in peace to do their own thing, but they also traditionally don't like us. So what if the Sabbat had a deal for them? Because enemy of my enemy, friend and all, what if it's a situation like that? And this is all pure speculation, and it sounds asinine. I'm going to be clear that this sounds ridiculous, but I have had this terrible feeling. The wolves have been a part of something. The wolves have played into this, because that random thing, Nyx, that was curious. That was odd.
It was,
so
yeah.
I wonder if it has to do with that, because now we're talking shadow operatives for the Sabbat.
So
I don't
Victoria,
think the Maria would ever.
Bed.
I don't think the Camarilla would ever work with the wolves. I definitely know the Camarilla would never work for the Sabbat. So there's got to be something here, and I don't know how we can follow this theory up. I don't even know, again, if it's even possible. It just sounds too ridiculous to be true, but I can't help but feel like this could be something to be concerned about, because the Sabbat, as we know, is the worst thing in our world. But the wolves, they can dispose of us pretty quickly.
So, as you're speaking, Victoria waits politely and patiently for you to finish speaking. As soon as you finish speaking, she says, Kira, you've made the connection. I believe what we saw at the hospital wasn't werewolves. I think that was a conglomerate of unbirthed. You see, unbirthed. Yes, it certainly would, because the appearance of a werewolf and unbirthed is very similar. The unbirthed just are not very hairy and dramatically less meat on their bones, because, you know, they are literally undead bodies that have been decaying for several years. So to that end, I think the comparison is actually not as crazy as you might think.
Heard it once said that reality is stranger than fiction.
Is it possible they raised these unbirthed from the hospital morgue, or did they come from elsewhere? Are there any signs of break in or only break out?
Victoria pauses for a second and says, if the hospital was understaffed enough for the bodies to not be moved for quite some time to graves, then yes, they could have created unbirthed from bodies in the morgue. They have to have been dead for at least 6 months, but it's entirely plausible that due to understaffing, they couldn't move the bodies in time. The only way to know for certain is to look up various police reports on the incident and see if there was any kind of reference to the morgue being broken into. I think we have a lead.
I think we not only have a lead, but I have a solution.
Do tell.
Nicholas, do you think it would be wise if we made a generous contribution to security?
I mean, there's a number of things I could do with that. I am not reading your mind, though.
My apologies, I should be more clear. Do you think it would be wise if we had made a generous and anonymous donation to better fund private security, specifically for hospitals and morgues, and additionally hire someone perhaps on staff to keep track of some oddities, some irregularities with missing bodies, and perhaps just things that they might need to keep an eye out for?
Think that it would draw weird lines of implication to us if we were to do that. It's also very unusual in today's day and age that people mess with bodies. And then third, if they can't get them from hospital morgues, what's to stop them from digging them straight up out of graveyards?
That's a good point.
I like where you're thinking. I think that it's playing our hand too hard, especially because we have to keep living here, and if we start putting Pinkertons on all the hospitals here, people are gonna wonder what your goal is coming in from the US and doing that.
You make a good point. I appreciate your counsel.
As this conversation continues, Victoria gets some texts and some information from her various feelers and spies that she has in the world of darkness in general in Sydney. She discovers that someone she used to call a friend, someone she thought was long dead, is interested in meeting to have a discussion. The only caveat is her request is for Victoria to meet her alone. Victoria is troubled by this. It doesn't say anything to the rest of the group. But she does mention that she's got some intel. That there are various Sabbat sects all over the city. And various coteries hidden deep underground. I think we need to be methodical about this. If they are doing unbirthed rituals, they will need at least 5 or 10 of them to actually be successful. So we should go where the dead humans go. Hospital morgues, graveyards, sites of mass graves, although I don't think there's that many of that kind in Sydney. Not to my knowledge anyway. At the very least, if there's a mass grave somewhere here, the bodies are too old to be of concern. Somewhere between
How
6
old is too
months.
old?
Somewhere between 6 months and 8 or 9 months is the prime point. Anything older than that is not usable. Anything newer than that is just going to be essentially a very weak zombie. They're not going to be useful to them. And I always suspect that they cull those that they accidentally raise that aren't suitable. You know, as I said, the Sabbat are ruthless. They don't care about the semantics. They just get what they need to do done to be the supreme rulers in the kindred world.
Ira, before we got you out of the situation up north, you were working with some other Tremere in that group, right?
I was, yes. We didn't know each other too well.
But did your projects with them involve anything like this, or can you tell me anything about what they did have you doing? I'm trying to kind of understand if there is any connection between what we dealt with in the mountains and these new Sabbat raids disguised as well, we know that there's a connection. I just want to know if they're using the Tremere like you for that.
It's definitely a good possibility. They didn't really tell us much on what we were doing. They just told us what we needed to do. And given our situation, all we could do was follow and obey the orders. I am quite interested in these creatures. If we might be able to get one and alive, I may be able to help with tracking where or who has been making them.
That's a good lead we could have there. I don't mind attempting that. What do you think, Kara?
I think that actually will be very wise. I think if we can get more of a lead on understanding motives, or at the very least, understanding these creatures, we can have a better defense and maybe plan for something better.
Victoria props up and she says, capturing one of these things alive is going to be a pretty tall order.
I'm going to immediately look to the Baron. I'm going to say, Baron, your kindness and generosity has known no bounds thus far, and it's honestly been a pleasure to get to know you, but I humbly ask of you, how bad would you love to use your fists, sir?
Oh, this is my kind of job. It's a little outside of my area, but I do love making house calls.
I love that can-do attitude, and if I can help in any way, I sure will. But yeah, I think we definitely need to address this immediately. And I think that the sooner we can get Lyra, this creature, for study, the quicker we can to start working on a real plan to bring down these multiple sects of the Sabbat and understanding the creatures that they're using, and hopefully stop these rituals, whatever that even is heading into. I honestly can't imagine what the true purpose is, aside from maybe sheer chaos.
As the conversation is continuing, Victoria's phone suddenly springs to life. It's a call from the one that she thought was dead. She doesn't answer it, but being bad with technology, she accidentally answers it and puts it on speakerphone. The voice on the other end says, and then suddenly, no matter what Victoria does, she cannot control her phone. It is answered on speakerphone and she cannot hang up or take it off speakerphone or what have you. The voice on the other end says, "Hello, my old friend. It's been so long. Are you alone?" She reluctantly says, "No, I'm not alone. And it seems like my phone doesn't want to turn off right now, so yes, it has been some time. But I thought you were dead. How did you escape?" "I have my ways, dear. But as you know, our clan He's elusive. And we have our ways. I want to meet you alone. The others with you. How kind or not, must not meet. It must be you and I, and no one else. She's a bit perplexed by this request, and she says, "Why alone? That's never been the way you operated in the past. Why now? And why after so much time? Do you show your face again? Well, show your voice again, I suppose." She chuckles. "Ah, you may know not of simple things, my dear. But let me enlighten the rest of your friends. I am an 8th generation La Sombra. And I happen to have a relation to Miss Bassett here, being the sire of her sire. It goes back rather deep. And yes, I was thought to be dead by many. Succumbed to the beckoning and what have you, but no. I survived. I persevered. And now I am one of the only allies you have left." She's going to...
Storyteller,
Go ahead.
I'd like to insight check this person. I'd like to use their speech pattern. I'd like to basically try to analyze for manipulation, or basically something that seems more well thought out, something that seems calculated versus something genuine, because obviously kindred, especially older kindred, have a level of bullshit to them, a level of confidence and conviction. I want to discern whether they're full of shit.
So you can, admittedly, through a phone, there's not really much you can do. However, in terms of her speech patterns, you can discern a little bit of a deception or not. But it's going to be difficult.
Okay, I'm down for that.
If you want to see if she is being deceptive, you can do a intelligence and insight roll.
Intelligence and insight. Bear with me here.
It's going to be 3 and 3. Dice pool of 6, include your 1 hunger die.
All right. Let me get that sorted. Okay. All right. Going now. Okay, what we have here is... Can I burn a willpower?
What? How many successes did you get?
I got 2 successes.
Yeah, that's nowhere near enough. You can burn a willpower if you so desire.
If you burn a willpower, it's what, 3 dice?
Yeah, you can reroll up to 3 regular dice.
All right, so I will burn a willpower. And I'm going to retry that. Okay. Here we go. I rolled 3 successes in total.
Unfortunately, that's nowhere near enough.
Yeah, I figured as much.
She rolled a
Worth a
counter
try.
roll, and she got 5 successes. Although, because it's going through a phone, there's a slight increase in the difficulty, so it's about 7 successes to successfully determine just by voice alone. You don't pick up
I just thought it
any
was worth a
kind
try.
of... You don't pick up any kind of deception in the voice but it's also very misleading. What you do know is that this kindred seems to have some Malkavian tendencies, and that's probably reminiscent of being raised around Malkavian or raised around various kindred that are a little bit more eccentric than most. So
Maybe even Diablo Rising one.
potentially. Nothing's off the table with an 8th gen. She's quite old. Doesn't look it
Oh,
though.
sorry, that was out of character.
Doesn't look it. She looks like she's a teenager, fresh out of high school. But her actual age is quite significant.
Well, they're on phone, so we can't see them, right?
You know, you can not see them. The only person that knows what they look like is Victoria.
Okay.
Victoria interjects. She says, "What do you want from me? This is very out of the blue, and I feel like you're intentionally invading my privacy, because whatever you've done to my stupid phone, I can't turn this call off right now." She just tries to like frantically jab at the screen trying to get it to respond, and it to no avail. The only thing I want from you is to create some sort of alliance, because you know as well as I that if we don't deal with this threat, the Black Hand will take us all. And I don't know about you, but I want to keep on living. She's going to just say, I don't think I can agree to your terms. I think you bring some of your friends. I bring some of mine. She knows from decades of knowing this person that she's very easily persuaded. She knows this person inside and out. Because Victoria's sire may have succumbed to the final death. However, she's the grandmother. She is Victoria's sire's sire. And she knows that she can be rather easily manipulated given the right persuasion. She's going to say to the room and the phone, do we have an agreement? You know that I've always been open to changes of the rules per se, but tell you what, you choose 4 friends and I'll choose 4 friends, and then that'll be fair. What do you say? She looks at the entire room, realizes that everyone in this room are really her only allies at the moment. They've become like family to her. And so she very abruptly demands, no. 9 of my friends. So 10 in total. Versus 9 of your friends. And we'll have a civil discussion about whatever you want to talk about. And then she responds with, you drive a hard bargain, but I don't really have a problem with saying the more the merrier. The only thing is, must they be all kindred? Teresa says, well, I don't know of any other beings that you could bring. She's suddenly startled by that when the voice on the other end states, you know, this call's been connected for a little bit longer than you realize. The unbirthed. Some of them are loyal to me. Would you like me to bring one for your little observations? She is very... Victoria is very distraught now, and she's just... The very intention of bringing something that is not really controllable to this meeting has Victoria on high alert. Even for her, the impulsive La Sombra who is bad with technology and just kind of rides by the seat of her pants. This is something that scares her. This is something that truly frightens her. She then talks to the room and she says, well, I guess that is okay. What do you all think? She kind of just opens it up to the room for anyone to respond.
It would help us in the long run. I do need one of the unbirthed alive to see if we can track where they're coming from.
I have an issue, actually, Nicholas. She's in readily command. She said herself, she's readily in command of one of these unbirthed. Doesn't that strike you odd?
Ma'am.
Indeed.
Oh, I never said I was in command of it.
Oh,
Sorry,
no,
well,
I was wanting to talk away from the phone.
But it's on speaker and it can't be turned off, so you're going to be heard or not.
I mean, can't I whisper?
You can, but like this La Sombra has very acute hearing and is likely on the other end, like
through a phone.
Yeah, she probably has. Let's just say she's far better with technology than Victoria is.
Well,
she's got
then
resources.
I ain't saying shit. I don't want to say anything because I don't think that we need to be having her hear our conversation.
So yeah,
conversation before the call started.
I'm going to look to Nicholas instead. I'm going to be like, I'm going to look him for about like 3 to 5 seconds in his eyes, and then I'm going to nod my head no.
What you seem to be all forgetting is that I mentioned that I heard a bit of the conversation in the room before Victoria realized that I was listening in. And what you have is a good plan, but the lack of execution. If I tell you that I'm not part of the Black Hand, would you believe me? Or do you have your doubts?
Reason to.
You know, we haven't been properly acquainted. And I don't think I got your name. Once again, could you remind me? Please.
You first, dear.
Oh, but you're the guest, you know, you're the guest of honor. You're the person who called, so it would be disrespectful to turn down such a welcome opportunity to get to know someone who's so keen on helping us.
She just responds with, You seem like a Ventru. Typical arrogant Ventru. Always wanting more information than they can handle. So I say again, go first.
For now, you can call me Kira.
Very well. Kira of Clan Ventru. Since you asked, reasonably nicely, my name is Alyssa Noir of Clan La Sombra. And I don't have any affiliations with anyone. I am a free spirit. And yes, I grew up around Malkavian, sue me.
Well, you asked if we can trust you, so that was my next point I wanted to discuss. Miss Noir, you know very well as old as you are, and I can assume you're far much older than any of us have ever seen or known or experienced. You know firsthand from your generation and far past mine, you know we can't be trusted. You know, kindred, we're not known for trust. You know that we've got our own ulterior motives. So do I trust you? Respectfully, no, I don't. Do I hope that you wish to do some good and maybe possibly assist in a problem that is of most grave? Very much so. I would actually like to believe that, but you can't expect your own fellow kindred to trust you when you yourself probably have never trusted anyone older than you.
Trust is something that is earned, my dear. And I have earned the trust of every kindred I have ever encountered, including Miss Bassett. Well, at least I used to have her trust. I don't know about these days. It's been a long time.
Well,
Victoria just kind of shakes her head to the
simplify-
room, knowing that she
to
can't be
simplify
seen.
To simplify matters, you said it yourself, trust is earned, so if what you say is true and you mean to give us this boon, if you will, of assistance, then that could be the good foundation of trust building.
That sounds reasonable. Although the venture I've come across in the past have just been very untrusting. Little
blame us,
Alyssa.
though.
Little Alyssa did nothing wrong to anyone. At least, not inherently. And I don't know. People just don't kind of trust me off the bat. I'm used to it at this point. I am over 400 years old, technically. Although I don't look it. Victoria just subtly nods. She's just giving gestures to the rest of the room, so she knows she can be heard but not seen. So she's just going to gesture to the rest of the room if what she's saying is true or what she's saying is false, to the best of her knowledge.
Now it's my job to not be trustworthy. I think that if you intend to use us to your ends, but offer the carrot of helping us with ours, then we should meet. But we're not sending all of us. I liked the original idea. We'll have Miss Bassett pick 4 friends. You bring one of your unbirthed. Set a time and a place now.
Very well. Miss Bassett, do you agree with your friend? Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Nicholas.
Nicholas. I would be judging by the tone of your voice. Would you be a gangrel, perhaps, my dear?
Yeah, that telltale growl, I'm sure, gave it away.
I can still tell. That's interesting. Yes. So, again, Miss Bassett, do you agree with the original plan? Okay. We can do that. When and where are we meeting? In Bicentennial Park. Near the Sydney Olympic Park. At midnight. Tomorrow. Nobody else needs to know about this meeting. It must be very secret, because you can't trust anyone. And that's pretty evident on this conversation. Ta-ta for now. Call abruptly ends.
To
Victoria currently...
phone.
Victoria...
You just read my mind.
Victoria suddenly
literally-
gains control of her phone, but it is abruptly stolen by Nicholas. And she just kind of is in disbelief. She doesn't believe that she just spoke to her grandmother, essentially. After all this time. She thought she was long dead. She's in disbelief. She's just not going to say anything and just going to sit there and stare at the wall.
I'm destroying this phone.
Thank you. I'm actually going to look at him in acknowledgement because he literally just did what I was about to do, and I'm very proud of him. And then as he breaks the phone, I'm going to immediately turn to Victoria, and I'm going to say, "We're gonna get you a new one. We're gonna get you a better one, something newer, something far more secure."
No phones.
Victoria is just
Phones are what destroyed us last time.
Victoria's just completely stunned. She's not going to respond or make any acknowledgement of what you're saying. She just is in disbelief and shock, and it's going to take some time for her to come back down to the ground. So she just kind of looks at you and looks back at the wall. It's like she's entered torpor without actually being in torpor. She's just going to remain quiet.
Do we happen... Oh, no, go ahead.
This presents a new wrinkle. We need to vet this information because very little of what we just heard seems reasonable to be believed. But if it's true, that may be worse than if it's a lie.
Victoria quickly snaps back to what Nicholas is saying when he mentions that we need to vet this information. She says, "Oh no. When that particular kindred says to tell no one, you tell no one."
I don't intend to tell anybody. But when somebody comes out of the woodwork and claims to be an 8th generation after the beckoning, I start to worry.
Yes, it is alarming. She would be considered a minor elder. And that's part of what makes me so terrified.
She
because
would be considered an impossibility. They're gone. All of them.
Yes, well, so I thought too. It's possible that whatever called us just now was some sort of elaborate ruse to make us think that she is still alive. and commanding whoever she has loyal to them. She's just it doesn't make sense to me either, but it didn't sound like it was fake. That was absolutely her voice. I'm reasonably sure of it. But yes,
Which
she should have succumbed to the beckoning right now. It doesn't make any sense. She's gonna start prattling to the wall and just making incoherent nonsense. She's distraught now. She's doesn't know what to do with herself.
Which brings me to my next point, and I direct this out loud. Do we know in our own society, do we know of abilities, doesn't matter what clan, do we know of the capability of assuming one's identity to sound as they do, look as they do, move as they do?
I mean, these new fandangled AI are pretty convincing, but not
I'm
for
gonna roll my
Sombra.
eyes and just wrap my head at that.
Not for La Sombra though, because we don't appear correctly on cameras and such. It is one of our greatest strengths. So the inclination that what we just heard is fake is unlikely, but possible. The Sombra don't show up on various cameras and modern technology and various different recording devices correctly. So,
Well,
stands to reason that whatever would called us just now was the real person. But, like I said, it doesn't make any sense. Turns to Big
Your
Dog.
scope on this problem may be too small. You're only considering the colors of the injured. There are other things that went on during the night.
This is true. But I don't know what to believe anymore.
Well, we already know, Ms. Bassett, that you have other pursuers out there who've been using your technology to track you.
Yes.
So, we don't know what more they know about you. They seemed eerily informed. They could have connections, better understanding than we know yet. Abilities that we're unaware of. If
Well,
they're
I guess if you-
or as the Duke, the Baron suggests some other supernatural creature.
Well, if I may direct everyone's attention, it was agreed upon that 4 people would go. 4 people would serve as allies to be part of a discussion. And I think the next thing we need to decide wisely, I think we need to be honest with you, I think we're walking into a trap. I do not trust this situation. And I think that was a wise decision. I think that was actually a good recommendation. So thank you, Nicholas. As far as who should go, since I do believe it to be a trap, the whole point of having friends is to serve as bodyguards, and I will not volunteer anyone, and everyone is valid if they do not wish to go. But I think it will be best suited for the people that do go to be ready for a fight.
Like I said, I don't know what to believe anymore. I just got a call from someone I know to be long dead. Succumb to the beckoning, succumb to a final death. elder vampires don't really exist anymore. Well, I guess there are some ways they could theoretically exist, but kindred that old just don't really exist anymore. At least I didn't think they did. So my entire perspective has been changed. I am willing to do whatever we need to diffuse the situation.
Are we not immortal? In theory, as long as we're not killed, we should live on forever, no?
Yes, but
The beckoning
If
comes
this-
for us all.
if this particular kindred has restrained or intends to restrain one of those unbirthed, they would be very powerful. We don't know what we're walking into. But I would think that we need to do it with as much caution as possible.
And we need to be honest with ourselves with we need to be honest with ourselves with who should go. And no one, obviously, we have to be 100% certain with who goes. I will go if we all feel it best. I will stay if we all feel it best. But we should decide who should go and who should stay.
And if they do end up bringing one of these unbirthed, it's probably best if I do go, because we don't know if they are going to let us to keep this unbirthed, and we need. I would like to do as much observation and learning of these creatures as possible.
Yeah. As much as I would like to help, I am not the best or any help when it comes to any sort of combat. That, and more on a selfish note, I have other plans I would like to attend to in the meantime.
Well, I guess I have to go. It would be weird if I didn't show up. So
That would be the case.
Yeah, you don't have
Although-
much of a choice here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Victoria just kind of looks around the room. She's doing so in as if to say, "This might be the last time I see this room." She's genuinely terrified, but hiding it well. She will roll. It's a composure to determine how well she is exactly hiding it. She got one success. She's trembling. She's visibly trembling. She doesn't know what to do or say.
I'm gonna do
Jeez.
something. I don't know if this will work because it's never been established that we could not in the kindred world. Can I try to go cloud memory?
Cloud memory is probably going to not work on a kindred mind, I would imagine.
No?
You can attempt it.
It's a
But-
contested roll.
It
There
is
is
a
a con-
contested roll, yes.
There is a contested roll, but it's going to probably be quite a difficult thing to achieve for a kindred mind. Generally, cloud memories is used for mortals. However, you can absolutely try.
How about if can I try persuading them to free their mind and to let that like sink into me? Basically, like let me, freely invade their mind.
Yeah.
Well,
So to do it against the
that-
kindred, it's
go ahead.
to do it against the kindred, it's charisma plus dominate, rolled by the person using it, versus the wits plus resolve of the target.
Yeah, so that's the same against another target. The question is, I think the DC would be reasonably high because the Kindred Mine is a bit more less
Well, no,
susceptible
because
to things like that.
it's a contested roll, so the DC is their number of successes. Whoever gets more
Okay.
successes wins. The
Okay.
reality, what makes mortals easier is there's no roll against mortals if they don't like have any reason to believe
yeah,
you're
that's
about
right.
to do it.
That's
It
right.
just
I think that's
happens.
correct. All right. So yeah, do
Thank
you want to
you,
use
by the
cloud
way,
memory? Do you want to use cloud memory
Yes.
on Victoria? Okay. She'll do wits and
I'm
resolve.
going to walk up to her. For role-playing purposes, may I play that out?
Yep. She'll do a wits and resolve. You roll a charisma and dominate to try and
Yep.
succeed.
All right, to roleplay this, I'm going to go up to her and I'm going to say, Victoria, you've done a lot. You've been around a long time. I'm going to need you to take this as fuel. I'm going to need you to forget all of this nonsense of the past roughly 10 minutes. This didn't happen. You are in control of yourself. You are ready for this.
Okay. Give me a charisma plus dominate roll, include your hunger die.
Copy that. All right, rolling now. Okay, give me a second. Let me. It's my flashlight because I can't see in here. I am going to burn a willpower.
Okay.
You love your willpower, don't you?
I really do.
Or
My
not
understanding is that the Cure really wants this to work, so which I kind of understand to an
Yep, I need
extent.
it to
So
work.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Yes. All right, I got 4 successes.
She forgets the last 10 minutes.
Let's go, baby.
She rolled a 2. So
I originally
and-
rolled a 2 and I burned a willpower, and it was a good fucking call.
So Victoria becomes a bit dazed, and then suddenly she says, "So yeah, the Sabat presence is worrying.
And with
We should
that, I actually want
Figure out what to do next." And then she visibly looks much calmer and is less distraught than she was before. It seems whatever you did worked. Go right ahead,
And I
Spring.
don't regret it because she's fucked with us for about 20 years.
Go ahead, Spria.
With her mentioning the Sabat, I do want to ask specifically Victoria if there's any type of information that she would like for me to try and get out of Tridora.
Victoria's going to respond with, well, an agent of Sabat only really works for them. But some interesting information as to why she's been marked and how she's been marked could be useful.
I can try. Espria is kind of gonna let like a little bit slip and be like, I can try before she's no longer with us.
Victoria immediately pricks up at that statement. She says, "What do you plan to do, Espria?"
Get my revenge.
Yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. We need to be transparent
Can I do
here.
cloud memory again? I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. That was a joke.
Generally, you're restricted to that kind of thing once per scene, generally, but like,
No, I was trying to be funny.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Victoria writes her response. She's suddenly very, very interested in as to what Espria means, because She fears the
She
worst.
broke kindred law. She must pay.
Okay. Still doesn't answer my question, but it seems like he's just going to torture her to death, so that seems okay, but I don't like why are you being secretive? I know it's like weird to ask a Nosferatu, but you know, this seems a little bit over the top. I know you want revenge. But do you plan to consume her?
I don't know what you mean.
Victoria's going to get angry. And she's going to quickly and swiftly relentless grasp Espria.
Oh
She
shit.
succeeds her rouse check.
Nicholas just
I'm
immediately
anxious.
stops in the middle of his explanation as this occurs.
Espria is restrained against the wall. And Victoria, being rather cross with Espria, says, "Answer me. Do you intend to consume her? Steal her power?" She lets go a little bit to let Espria respond.
It's none of your concern.
Put her down. I failed to give proper context for her to understand question.
Oh, I think I was quite clear.
No,
What
you
does
are
she
not.
plan
You
to
can drink
do?
a vampire and just fine. What you're referring to is the Atari. That is not fine.
Yes.
I do not think she is aware of this. She's acting with
Nosferatu.
confusion, not deceptiveness.
She lets go of Espria and she says, "I have encountered this before from a kindred. And yes, I do suspect diablerie. This is why I ask. If this is what Espria truly wants,
But it is
And
not
so-
what you had said. You said she was going to consume her. It has multiple meanings for ones such as us. Your question was unclear. You overreacted. Now calm down.
she's gonna pout, she's gonna sit down. She's not gonna say anything."
I'm actually.
Yes,
Mm.
Dad.
I'm just gonna leave
Yeah.
it alone. I was
Yep.
gonna. For role playing purposes, I'm going to walk up to Espria. I'm gonna open my mouth and I'm going to, very much like any fucking venturer politician, raise my finger up like I'm about to say something, and then I'm gonna catch my voice. I'm gonna stop myself and I'm going to say. Actually, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna do basically like a, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it because I think that we need to get on the road. We need to get this situation sorted. We also need to, once again, out of character, of course, discern who, or rather decide who is going to go and who's going to stay, because it has to be 4 people. And Victoria is obviously going along. And I'm cool with going, I'm cool with staying, but I will also throw out, I did totally burn 2 willpower.
As Kira is standing in the room just kind of waiting for a response, Victoria says, "Okay, let me be very clear. And if you're deceptive, I will not be very pleased with this. But Espria, do you plan to commit diablerie against your sire? Is that your intention?
My intention is to murder my sire. Obviously, after I get some information that may help us. But with that, I will end her. Once and for all.
Respectfully, I think we can revisit this at another time, and it's definitely important, and I think that it's very valid to be concerned because...
I'm sorry. I do have to agree that Victoria's concern is legitimate. If one of us commits diablerie, it's going to put all of us at risk.
Agreed.
That's something that stains the soul and is the basis for blood hunts. We don't want something like that happening. So it would be good. I do hate to force the issue, Miss Bria. I know that you've been put through a lot of pain already, or I suspect at least, but I do want to have a straight answer on this. When you end your sire, which I have no problem with you doing, are you going to destroy them or take their soul?
There's going to be a little bit of a delay in Espria's response, but she's going to reply with, I want to destroy them.
Good.
Okay. Victoria,
Because
are
those
you
blood
satisfied?
hunting missions, I'm who they call.
Victoria responds to Nicholas and she says, to be honest, I've been through this before and it ended poorly, which was why I was concerned. But I feel Espria just wants revenge. She doesn't intend to consume either, I think, but I'm not 100% confident. But reasonably so.
Well, we're about to get into a situation where trust is going to be put to the test. And I think that we need to make sure that everyone knows trust is starting here at home. If Espria tells me that she is not going to commit diablerie, when we're all in this together, we all know the stakes. Then I'm going to trust her. Because we're about to get in bed potentially with somebody not even their grandchild trusts. So.
And
Well,
I had a thought, I had a plan, and I want to be clear, this is a group decision. I want to be clear that if y'all disagree, please feel free to, speak up about this. This is just a thought, and I'll even tell you why I think this will be the wisest plan. And I do apologize. Again, I want to be clear, I'm not volunteering anybody. Lyra has already made it clear that she would like to be present, so that way she can possibly test these unbirthed. And then it is of my opinion that with Lyra and Victoria, our two most physically gifted people, the two people who are ready for a fight, and I do believe they will bring a war to dozens if there is ever a problem, is going to be the Baron himself and you, Nicholas. So it is my opinion the wisest decision we can make is for you, Nicholas, you Lyra, you Victoria, and you Baron, as well as Espria, to go along with, because Espria can be stealthy and keep an eye on things. Lyra can be there to test. Nicholas and Baron, you can be ready for a fight.
So that's 4 plus me.
This place.
I like this plan. Go ahead, Nicholas.
Kira, you're
What do
going
you
to
think?
need to fortify this place in our absence.
I agree.
The person on the phone knows where this is.
I agree. We're going to need to get with staff. We're going to make sure that everybody is ready. And if I have to, I will have police on standby.
Suddenly, the PA system in the club has a notification tone. Doom, doom, doom. And then a voice is heard. Oh, I know exactly where you all are, my dears. It's Alyssa. She's speaking into the club's PA system that can be heard in the entire building. It seems she has hacked into the security, bypassed various mitigations, and is now addressing you directly. So, about our meeting. Don't be late. Then nothing is heard.
I'm going to look to Nicholas. I'm going to like embrace him a little bit, and by embrace him I mean just get close to him, of course. Just whisper into his ear. I'm gonna say we've got a problem, and we need to work on security.
Victoria is going to be once again perplexed, but she's not going to say anything to the rest of the group. But she's going to wonder to herself, was that Alyssa? That can't be right. She's long dead, right? Did something happen? There's something happen, I forgot about it. She's just thinking all this to herself, she's not voicing it to the rest of the group. Then she's going to say out loud, that can't be who I thought it was.
I've got a question out of character storyteller. I don't know how the fuck she's hearing us unless she's somehow bugged the place, but that doesn't make sense because no one could get up to my floor except for Nicholas or I.
Correct assumption. Your PA system has been infiltrated, but she doesn't exactly know what you were saying.
But
there.
they can't hear.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I want to be clear about that because
it's just a scare tactic.
Additionally, I mean, I thought I had a 2 in security systems, but I guess that was surpassed.
Oh yeah, this Kendra's the pro. She's got a lot of resources. She knows exactly how to get past things. Nothing can stop her. Yeah, true.
Assuming that she is who she says she is.
Correct.
But my next question was, Nyx, do you agree with this plan to send our 2 most combat worthy as well as Lyra to Test and Espria to stay in stealth while you stay back with me, try to keep this place safe and hopefully make it through the night?
Victoria is going to be... Go ahead, Nyx.
Oh yes, I agree. I do.
Victoria's going to be very confused what Kira is saying. She's just going to state, have I missed something? Because
perhaps you were apparently distraught. I'm so sorry. You must have been so distraught that it's kind of glossed over or slipped through your mind. But yeah, basically you have become reacquainted with your sire's sire, and they have asked to meet up with you, to which you were confidently ready to accept to see if it was indeed true. And the deal that was arranged was that you would bring 4 of your friends, your closest allies, alongside 4 of their closest allies, and they have also made us aware that there is going to be a possible deal in place to acquire something of significant value, but they have requested you to show up with us.
She's going to cut you off, and she's going to say, what? My sire's sire is long dead. That can't be right. What do you mean?
Well, it's a good thing you're going.
Respectfully, if what you say is true, I don't think I want to go. She's dangerous. If she's alive, this doesn't make any sense. She is long dead, I'm sure of it. Did I miss something?
Well, apparently so. Apparently they're somehow alive, which I have a hard time believing. I don't believe it to be true either, but that's why we're trying to make a plan to keep not only you safe, but to acquire something of intrinsic value.
She gets an inkling that you're telling the truth based on hearing a voice of someone she thought was long dead over the PA system. That inkling towards some sort of meeting. She's kind of very perplexed, but she's going to go along with it because she's curious, but she doesn't have any kind of recollection or knowledge this person's still alive. As far as she knows, she's dead. And she thinks that whatever this is a setup. It's tricks. Well, I don't think whatever I just heard is real. It can't be. But I guess we need to investigate. So, how many of us are going? As you might imagine, she's complexed. She's complex about what's going on. She doesn't know exactly because she's no memory's rewiped. So she's just trying to recall what is going on or try and remember.
Little question outside. I kind of forgot, what was the name of your character again?
The name of my character? Victoria Bassett.
Yeah. Victoria, that's the one.
Yeah. She's going to wait for a response, and she sort of gestures towards Nicholas. She says, "Sorry, so I cut you off there. What were you saying, friend?"
I said we are going to investigate. You're going to accompany me, Victor, and Espria, and Lyra tomorrow night to meet with the person who claims to be your grandsire.
Okay, well, we need to keep our wits about us.
Exactly.
If she's alive, she's a very old kindred. Very old kindred. So I'll believe it when I see it, but yeah.
And if she's not alive, then this is something else that knows way too much.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, wits about us.
Before they head out, what's about us? Before they head out, I want to pull the Baron and Nicholas aside just very briefly, if I may.
Go ahead.
All right, I will pull them aside, and I'm gonna whisper, and I'm gonna say, I get the feeling that this is going to be very bad, and obviously you two can do as you please, but I think if it comes down to it, you eradicate the threat with with
Prejudice.
the full. I was trying to think of the right word. I was gonna say eradicate the threat with every bit of force needed.
Nicholas is going to shoot a look to Victor before turning back to Kira and speaking. He's going to say, unfortunately, in my completely honest opinion, Kira, if this is something that we cannot be allies with, I don't think this team is returning. It's why we can't send everybody. Because if it's an 8th generation vampire and she doesn't actually want to be friends, she's going to kill us, and there's not much we can do about it. And if she's not an 8th generation vampire, then she's something worse. And we don't know what that is. And she's already shown that she has some severely detrimental capabilities for us. Like tapping this place, getting into phones, and knowing everything there is to know about Ms. Bassett. That's why we can't send everybody on this one. Someone has to survive.
Agreed.
Yeah, from my perspective, I will neither confirm nor deny any such drastic actions while in the presence of a very heavily compromised building.
One final time, the PA system springs to life. Doom, doom, doom. Yes, Victoria. I am alive. And
That is exactly why. We need to leave immediately.
your friends are lying to you.
There's literally a rave going on downstairs right now.
Your friends are lying to you. And I look forward to meeting you tomorrow night. That's all. PA system turns off. And then the speaker sparks as if to denote that the PA system is now not working anymore. Fried, yes. That's the word I was looking for.
Another thing I have to pay for.
We needed to do that anyway.
And with that, thus concludes our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle episode for tonight. We hope you had fun tonight. And as always, as dawn approaches, we hope to see you next time night falls. Bye for now.